How's it going today, everybody? So I am finally getting my Assetto Corsa wheel settings up on my YouTube after about a month and a half of tweaking and playing and making sure that I was happy with them enough to give them out to people, because I want people to have the best experience possible. So I'm just going to jump straight into it. First thing you're going to do, go over to your browser here. You're going to search THRUSTMASTER drivers, and this website should come up here. It's THRUSTMASTER Technical Support. I'm going to go over here and jump to this tab. You're going to come up to the top here and click Racing Wheels, and that's going to bring up a big old list of all the different devices that THRUSTMASTER makes. TMX is going to be right here. The T150, let me see if I can find it again. It's going to be right up here. Real easy to spot with the blue rimming. I'm going to go down to TMX force feedback. And right here you're going to see drivers and firmware. These are what you want to download. You can just expand the menu down like this. You're going to make sure that you download these. I already have them downloaded, so we're going to back out of that. And I actually have them pinned to my taskbar down here. One of these is going to be my controller panel. The other one's going to be my firmware updater. First thing you're going to want to do is click on this firmware updater. Give it just a second here. It's going to pull this menu up. You're going to click OK, and you're going to let it run through its paces, and you're going to exit straight back out. Your firmware is up to date now. Next thing you want to do is go over to your controllers. You're going to find where your TMX or your T150 is here. You're going to highlight it, click Properties, and it's going to pull up your menu. First thing you want to do, I tell people to do, is make sure you test your inputs. So just give your wheel a little spin, make sure that's good, make sure this is set to 900, because cool people use 900. You're going to check your inputs on your pedals, make sure that's all working okay. You're going to go straight over to the gain settings. These are the gain settings that you want to make sure that you plug in. You want to make sure your overall strength is at 100, your constant and periodic gain settings are both at 100, make sure that your spring and your damper are at 0. You do not need these. You do not need a center spring to help your wheel on Assetto Corsa, and you do not need your damper, because all this is going to do is slow the servo base down even more than it already is. They are not the strongest servo motors, so you absolutely don't want a damper interfering with that. You're going to go down here at the bottom, Auto Center Settings, make sure it's selected by the game. And click OK off of this stuff. You're going to jump straight into your Content Manager. Going to jump over here to Settings, Controls under Assetto Corsa. You're going to go over to Force Feedback. And these are going to be your force feedback settings inside Content Manager. Your gain is going to be at 90%. That's the best general baseline gain setting that I found for force feedback. You have individual force feedback adjustments for each vehicle that start at 100, and you can adjust them up or down from there per vehicle. I've found jumping straight into a car with them at 100 with most mods, having the gain at 90% is going to give you the full range of your force feedback telemetry, and it's going to prevent you from having that clipping or that oscillation issue that you might have felt through some other games. Forza is pretty bad with it. CarX isn't the smoothest. It's got some oscillation issues as well. That's really hard to get dialed out. Your filter, this is just going to filter out any of the details through force feedback. You want to make sure that's at 0. Minimum force, as it sounds, this is your minimum force feedback output that you're going to feel through your wheel. 8% seems to be the happy spot on my TMX. These are going to be your extra effects settings. These are just amplifiers. They are not things that you're going to turn off by turning them down to 0. You're merely just making them to where they are the base output from your global force feedback gain. So I have them all at 0. I don't want anything causing any extra outputs that can cause clipping, anything that's going to affect my wheel rotation. You want to make sure and keep it as clean as possible, so make sure you have all these put to 0 if you're on a TMX or a T150. Enhance understeer effect, I have that unchecked. Soft lock, I have that checked. Make sure you have your force feedback steps at 0. You don't want that skipping anything. Center boost, this is to adjust if you've got some kind of deadness or weightlessness at your steering center. You can play with these if you want to increase the force feedback output at the center. You shouldn't need them though on the TMX or the T150. Mine feels great with them on 0. These are personal preference. This is your low speed force feedback reduction, as it says. I like them at this setting here. It just makes it to where when you're sitting still, it feels like you're sitting still in an actual car. You've got that power steering assist that you would find in a real car, but you still have the resistance of your base wheel from when you're sitting still. It's not like you don't have any force feedback. It's still there, it's still on. And then your actual force feedback that you're going to feel while you're driving is going to kick in almost immediately with these settings. It's a really smooth crossover from sitting still to rolling as well. I worked with that for a while to make sure it was as smooth as possible going from stationary to moving. Make sure this is unchecked. You don't want any damper interfering with your force feedback like I was talking about earlier. Next thing you want to do, you want to make sure that you have your custom shaders patch installed right here. You're going to go down to force feedback tweaks, and you're going to take this and you're going to plug it right in. I've messed with a bunch of these, trying to find the best feeling, the most accurate feeling, and this is the best thing I felt for my TMX. It should be the same for the T150 like I've talked about. So take these, give them a try. If you want to mess with them, you can, but I don't recommend it. These are going to affect the feeling of the force feedback when you're actually driving. If you want to learn a little bit more specifics about how some of this stuff works, Drift Indie on YouTube has a fantastic video of a good friend of mine, Alex Morlock. He is really good at explaining all of this stuff. So I hope the settings work well for you guys. Again, if you have any questions or if you have any feedback about them, please feel free to leave a comment at the bottom. And don't forget to smack the like button and hit subscribe. And I'm going to try and do better at pumping out some new content. So I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I appreciate the support again. Please go down to the description below as well if you want to see some of the stuff that I'm working with. If you want to see my PC specs, all the hardware I'm using, I got links for everything down there as well. Again, hope you guys have a great day. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Thanks for the watch. Thanks for the support. Have a good one.